At the party, I gave my wife a choice, me or her male best friend. She laughed and said, "You're joking, right?" I wasn't. I had rehearsed the words over and over in my head for days, but standing there in the crowded room, the laughter, the music, the clinking of glasses, it all faded out when I looked at her. Charlotte. She was radiant that night, hair curled perfectly, dress hugging her in all the right places. The same woman I married 5 years ago who now somehow seemed both familiar and impossibly distant. We arrived together, hand in hand, though the grip between us had started to loosen months ago. People greeted us, small talk, laughter, casual compliments, and I smiled, nodded, all while my mind was fixated on the one person who didn't know the stakes I had decided to set tonight. Ethan, her best friend. Or maybe I should call him the person who, over time, had quietly taken pieces of her attention and, in some ways, displaced me. He stood by the snack table, laughing too loudly, making a joke, and Charlotte's gaze kept finding him, lingering just a bit too long, just a little too often. I remember the nights we used to have, when it was just us, lying awake in bed, talking about everything and nothing, her laughter echoing in my chest, a warmth I haven't felt in a long time. But lately, the laughter had faded. The small gestures, the soft touches, the reassurance, all replaced with dismissive smiles, fleeting glances, and secrets she didn't feel the need to share. I didn't want to admit it to myself, but the truth was undeniable. I felt invisible, and tonight I was done pretending. I took a deep breath, straightened my shoulders, and decided I would cut through the veneer of politeness. I would force the truth into the open, no matter how much it stung. "Charlotte," I said, my voice low but steady, "I need you to answer something for me." She turned, eyes bright, the familiar sparkle masking nothing of the tension she felt, though I could see it lurking there in the corners. "Ethan," I said, gesturing subtly toward him, "me or him. Who do you want?" A laugh escaped her, light, teasing, like I had asked her to choose between coffee or tea. "You're joking," she said again, clearly enjoying the absurdity she perceived. But I wasn't joking. The room seemed to shrink around us, the chatter fading into a muted hum, the music receding like it was underwater. All I could see was her, and all I could feel was the weight of months, maybe years, of being sidelined, of watching my place beside her slowly erode. "I'm not joking," I said, carefully, making sure each word carried the gravity it deserved. "It's me or him, right now." My voice held no anger, only the quiet steel of someone who had reached the limit of tolerance. I watched her expression flicker, a tiny microsecond of surprise before her practiced composure returned. She raised a brow, tilted her head, and smiled, the kind of smile that hides everything and reveals nothing. "You don't get it, do you?" I continued, softening slightly to keep my own voice calm. "I'm not trying to embarrass you. I'm not trying to make a scene. I'm giving you clarity, because I can't keep living like I'm second choice. Not in my own life, not in my own marriage." I took a slow step closer, closing the invisible distance between us. "I love you, Charlotte, but if it's him you want, then I need to know, so I can step away." She laughed again, louder this time, but it was different. It didn't reach her eyes. Her gaze darted toward Ethan, then back at me, calculating, testing, like she had been rehearsing some response for this very moment. "You really think you get to corner me like this?" she said, almost mockingly. But I noticed the hesitation, the fraction of a second she faltered before composing herself. I wasn't there to corner her. I was there to reclaim myself. I stepped back, letting the silence hang in the air, heavy and undeniable. The party continued around us, oblivious, while I waited for her to make a choice, to reveal what she truly valued. Ethan, sensing the tension, took a step back, subtly, unsure, watching the exchange like everyone else should have been. And then she spoke, softly, almost reluctantly. "Why does it matter so much to you?" she asked, her voice low, the laughter gone now, replaced by the weight of realization. "You think this is about him, but it's not. It's about us. You, me, what we've lost." "Yes," I said, nodding, keeping my voice calm, steady. "Exactly. It's about us. Because if it's really about him, then I'm gone. And I won't wait around while you make that choice." For a moment, she didn't answer. She looked away, toward the window, toward the lights strung outside, toward anything but the truth she was holding back. I felt a pang, a tightness in my chest, but I held my ground. I had reached my limit of compromise. I wasn't angry. I was clear, resolute. I could see the flicker of recognition in her eyes now, the subtle acknowledgement that she had underestimated me, that she had taken for granted the quiet presence of someone who had stood by her for years. Finally, she turned back, her smile fragile, almost human now. "You're right," she said, almost a whisper. "It's always been you." And in that single sentence, months of neglect, doubt, and tension evaporated. Not entirely, but enough to reset the scale of the room. Ethan's presence suddenly became irrelevant, a shadow in the background, and for the first time in months, I felt seen. I took her hand, lightly, without clinging, and said, "Then let's not waste any more time. Let's figure out what we actually want, together, or apart." But honestly, the room buzzed around us again. Laughter, music, chatter, but for that moment, it was just us, breathing, facing the truth we had both been avoiding. And as we stood there, hand in hand, I realized that giving her the choice wasn't about forcing her to pick. It was about reclaiming my own dignity, my own sense of self-worth. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't manipulation. It was clarity. And clarity, as it turns out, was the most powerful thing I could ever give myself, or her. Because sometimes, the right choice isn't about winning. It's about finally being willing to walk away if you're not valued, and only then do you discover the people who truly belong in your life. That night, I learned that lesson, quietly, without drama, without a scene, just with the weight of truth and the relief of knowing I had drawn a line that could not be crossed again. And for the first time in months, I felt like the man I was meant to be, clear, resolute, and entirely in control of my own heart.